Have you ever noticed something wrong, something everyone else missed, but stayed silent because you were afraid no one would listen? The green on that poster felt wrong. Not just off wrong in a way that made my chest tighten like a warning I couldn't name. But I wasn't supposed to say a word. I was just a shy girl who cleaned up after everyone else's brilliance. The invisible one. Rain hammered San Francisco that October night, turning every surface into a mirror. I clutched my umbrella tighter as I walked through the alley behind Revolve Tech's headquarters, a gleaming tower where billion-dollar ideas were born while I scrubbed their floors. The company's newest campaign poster glowed on the wall, bathed in streetlight. Green. Too green. The kind of green that whispers danger instead of trust. Inside those walls, people like me didn't exist. We were the night shift, the shadows, baristas at dawn, janitors by midnight. I'd learned to keep my head down after what happened at design school, after Professor Hendricks taught me that speaking up only gets you hurt. That's when I saw him. A man in a black suit soaked through, slumped against the wall like he'd run out of places to go. His phone lay beside him in a puddle screen, flashing with headlines I couldn't quite read. But I could see his face. Exhausted. Broken. The kind of broken my father looked before he stopped recognizing me. I should have kept walking. Smart people do. But something about this heartwarming impulse, the one my mother always called my blessing and my curse, made me stop. My umbrella opened wider to cover us both. "Are you okay?" His voice came out hoarse, defeated. "I'm fine. Go home." But he wasn't fine. Water dripped from his hair. When he looked up at me, I saw the same emptiness I used to see in my own mirror. "You don't even know me," he whispered. "Maybe not, but you look like someone who needs kindness tonight." His hand trembled when it reached for mine. As I helped him stand, the green-tinted poster light washed over us both, casting strange shadows. I didn't know I was holding the hand of Sutton Cole, the CEO, whose face was all over the news. The man accused of betraying his own company. I didn't know this would become the most inspirational night of both our lives. That night, a shy girl stopped for a stranger and saved a man who'd lost everything. But who was really saving whom? 3 weeks earlier, Sutton Cole had everything. A billion-dollar company. Claire, his fiancée, who smiled in all the right photos. Marcus, his best friend, who knew every password to his life. Then they stole the prototype for Revolve's new interface technology, sold it to Quantum Industries, and fed the media a story painting Sutton as the thief. The board called emergency meetings. Shareholders demanded answers. Reporters camped outside his door. Sutton stopped sleeping, stopped trusting, started wondering if anyone had ever really seen him as more than a means to an end. That night in the rain, when I helped him inside through the back entrance, he didn't explain any of this. He just whispered, "Thank you," like the words physically hurt, then disappeared into the stairwell. Helen was waiting by the elevators with that knowing look. At 62, with silver hair and eyes that saw through walls, she'd witnessed enough human nature to fill libraries. Former art teacher fired for exposing corruption. Now she worked nights collecting stories about invisible people like us. That was kind Lily. He looked lost. The lost ones are usually the ones who see us clearest. Remember that. Morning came too fast. I was wiping executive floor windows when I spotted him again, Sutton Cole in daylight, composed now, guarded, wearing his power like armor. But his eyes still held that hollow exhaustion as he spoke with his leadership team through the glass-walled conference room. I turned back to my work, stayed invisible, did my job. During my break, my hands found my sketch pad, the one from art school, back when I still believed my ideas mattered. A napkin became my canvas. I redesigned Revolve's logo, softening the edges, warming the colors. Not because anyone would see it, just because creation was the only thing that still felt like mine. "You're not just a cleaner, are you?" I nearly dropped my pencil. Sutton stood in the doorway, coffee in hand, studying my sketch with startling intensity. "I studied design once," I stammered. "But I wasn't good enough." He picked up the napkin, angling it toward the light. "Who told you that, Professor Hendricks?" Leaning too close, his breath sour. "Your portfolio is amateurish, Lily. Maybe you should focus on being helpful in other ways." His hand on my shoulder. The way every design firm in the city suddenly knew I was difficult after I reported his behavior. "Someone who had power over my future," I said quietly. Sutton set the napkin down with unexpected care. "They were wrong. You just need someone to see it." Helen appeared with her rounds clipboard, smiling warmly. "Some people are born to create, Lily, not to clean up others' messes." She glanced meaningfully at Sutton. "Both kinds of messes." He looked uncomfortable. I should get back. But as he walked away, he glanced back. Just once, and something shifted in the space between invisible and seen. For days after our paths crossed in small ways, him lingering near the design floor when I cleaned, me finding reasons to organize supplies near his office, Helen watching it all like she was witnessing the opening chapter of an inspirational story she'd already read. Then the leak happened. Someone recorded security footage from the night I'd helped Sutton inside. Someone sent it to every news outlet with a twisted narrative: embattled CEO sneaks into company after hours with mysterious woman. My phone exploded. Reporters found my cafe, my apartment. My manager pulled me aside, worried. "Lily, honey, are you involved with that CEO?" "No, I just helped him. That's all." But that's all wasn't enough. By noon, I was in Revolve's HR office, facing a woman with sharp questions that felt like accusations. Did I know who he was? Had he paid me? Was I part of the scheme? She did nothing wrong. Sutton's voice cut through the room like a blade. He stood in the doorway, jaw-set eyes blazing with protective fury. "Mr. Cole, we need to protect the company's reputation. If she's fired, I walk." The HR director went pale. "Sir, that's not... I mean it. She showed me kindness when I had none left. If that's a crime here, then I don't belong here either." Silence fell like a hammer. Finally, the director nodded stiffly. "We'll continue this later." I stumbled into the hallway, legs shaking. Sutton followed. "You didn't have to do that." "Yes, I did." His eyes held something new: recognition, respect. "You saw me as human when everyone else saw headlines. That matters more than you know." Helen appeared around the corner, arms crossed, expression fierce. "The girl's got more courage in her pinky than most executives have in their whole bodies. Anyone with eyes can see that." Sutton nodded slowly. "I'm beginning to." But what none of us knew was that the real betrayal was still hiding in plain sight, wearing expensive perfume and rehearsed sympathy. And she was about to strike. 3 nights later, I couldn't sleep. That green poster haunted me. The color was wrong, but why did it bother me so deeply? I pulled up Revolve's website on my phone, scrolled through branding guidelines, press releases, product launches. Then I saw it. The original logo from 2 years ago. Warm colors, trustworthy, inviting. Exactly what a tech company trying to build consumer loyalty would need. But the current logo was cold, hostile, almost predatory. Someone had changed it deliberately. I texted Helen. "Can you let me into the archives tomorrow night?" Her reply came instantly. "What are you looking for, sweetheart? The truth." The next evening, we descended into Revolve's basement archives. Rows of filing cabinets held years of designs and strategic plans. I found the folder marked Brand Identity 2023 and spread the contents across the dusty table. There it was. Original color palette, warm, human, approachable. And beneath it, revision notes in unfamiliar handwriting. Adjust for impact. Make it sharp. Make them uneasy. Dated 3 months before Sutton's alleged betrayal went public. "Lily, look at this." Helen held up financial projections. The original design had tested beautifully with focus groups. The new one, people found it aggressive, untrustworthy. Exactly the image you'd want if you were trying to destroy a company's reputation from within. Why would someone sabotage their own company? I breathed. Unless they wanted it to fail, Helen said quietly. Unless someone stood to gain from the collapse. I photographed everything with trembling hands. When we emerged from the archives, I went straight to Sutton's office. His light still glowed. He practically lived there now, fighting to save what everyone thought he'd destroyed. I knocked. He opened the door, saw my expression. "What's wrong? Do you trust me?" He studied me for a long moment. In the weeks since the rain, something had grown between us, a fragile bridge built from small kindnesses and shared vulnerability. "I don't trust anyone anymore," he said honestly. "But I want to try." I showed him the files, watched realization dawn across his face like a terrible sunrise. "Vanessa," he said, voice cold with betrayal. "Claire's college roommate. I brought her into the company because Claire vouched for her talent." He laughed bitterly. "I've been so blind. Look at the metadata." I pulled up the timestamps on my phone. These revisions were made the same day Claire and Marcus met with Quantum Industries. His face went white. They weren't just stealing the prototype. They were destroying the brand from the inside, making us look untrustworthy so when they launched the stolen tech, people would believe we were the thieves. "It's personal," I said softly. "Someone wanted to watch you fall." He sank into his chair, and I saw that broken man from the rain again. "Why are you helping me? You barely know me." "Because you defended me when you didn't have to. Because you saw me when I was invisible." I met his eyes. "And because I know what it's like when someone with power tries to destroy you for speaking truth." Understanding flickered across his face. "Your professor." I nodded. "He ruined my reputation because I said no. Made sure no one would hire me. So I stopped trying. Became a shy girl who hid in the shadows." I straightened my shoulders. "But you're not invisible, Sutton. You're just surrounded by people who want you to be." Something hardened in his expression, determination replacing despair. "We need proof, real proof that will hold up. Then we investigate, together." Over the next week, we became ghosts in our own building. Sutton used his CEO access to security systems. I used my invisibility people talk freely around janitors. Helen provided archived footage. Between us, we mapped every suspicious meeting, every questionable email, every financial transaction, connecting Vanessa to Claire to Quantum. The picture that emerged was horrifying in its precision. Vanessa hadn't just changed the logo. She'd been leaking proprietary information for months, feeding negative stories to the press, sabotaging product launches with subtle design flaws that made Revolve look incompetent. All while Claire and Marcus positioned themselves as victims from the outside. "We need her confession," Sutton said during one of our late-night strategy sessions. "Everything else is circumstantial. Then we make her confess." Helen frowned from her position by the door, keeping